We are going to go ahead and get started today. So before we jump into the presentation today, we're going to just go over some housekeeping items. So you're going to see at the bottom of your screen a couple of buttons. You guys definitely know how to use the chat. That's great. We do have a lot of people on the event today. So if you have a question that you'd like to be answered, please post it directly into the Q&A option. Jenna Wallace is going to be managing the Q&A during the presentation. But make sure if you want that question answered, either by Jenna or also we're allocating time at the end for Q&A, please post it in the Q&A and we'll go through those at the end of the session, providing we have enough time. The second one is you guys are being recorded. The purpose of that is to be able to share the recording with you. That should go out to you Monday so that you can forward that along to any of your coworkers, or if you want to watch it again, came in late, we definitely want you to have that recording to access afterwards. And most important of all, we're giving away 3 things today throughout this presentation that are only eligible to you people who are here right now attending. So if you do win one of our prizes, we'll reach out to you to confirm your information. And lastly, again, social media is a great way to stay up to date to find out about more events like this. So the first thing I want to cover is, if you're not familiar with ACS Technologies, tell you a little bit about our mission and who we are. We've been serving faith-based organizations for over 45 years of all shapes and sizes, all denominations, churches small and large. And currently we have over 21,000 ministry partners that we work with each day to fulfill their goals. And we also want to make sure you understand that we are here for you as well. Whether you are one of our existing ministry partners or you are someone new to ACS Technologies, we're so excited to work with you today and go over some of the key challenges we know you're experiencing. And I am Whitney Brown. I'm one of your presenters here today. I have been with ACS Technologies for going on 7 years, but my entire career has really been working in marketing with faith-based nonprofits and also just other nonprofits. You'll be hearing from Leanne Ortega as well today. She works with me in the product marketing team here at ACS Technologies, but she also has the added benefit of having been a church communications director. So she's going to share some of her tips and tricks. And she also used ACS Technologies tools prior to coming to ACS. So really excited to share what we've learned and from our marketing experience, from working with ministry partners every day. And so we're going to jump into what we're going to talk about today, the meat, the why you are here. So we work with churches, for many, many years, and we're consistently hearing that there are some challenges that are common across denominations, across size churches, that we want to make sure we're covering here today. The first one is we don't know who our neighbors are and what do they care about or need. So you probably know the people within your congregation very well, but who's outside your walls and what are they looking for? You may know who the people are, right? So part 2 of that is going to be, how do I reach them? And then really, I want to make sure that I'm inviting them into the doors of my church or my parish. How do I do that? We don't know how to communicate with people well. We want to make sure they know what's going on, whether that be our congregation or our community. How do we best do that? And then also, equally as important is, how do I build a long-term lasting relationship? That can be with new visitors, that can be with people who are already in your pews today. We're going to cover all of this. So quick agenda, we're going to talk about the common challenges and how to better understand your community, draw them in, some tips and tricks that Leanna is going to cover, and also how ACS can help you along the way. And of course, we'll have our giveaway, so don't forget about those. Make sure to stay the whole time, and then we'll close it out with some Q&A. So we want to make this as simple as possible to understand, because some of these challenges seem really big, right? Really want to bring into focus, how do you find, reach, and engage new people? So we're going to start with find, which may seem the most daunting of all. So finding those in your community, The key here is that the answers are not within the walls of your sanctuary. You're going to have to look outside. And I want to warn you, your congregation may not be reflective of your broader community. I live in a small college town in the South, and there's a church on every single corner, but not every church has a population of university students or even faculty. So you really need to look and see what is around you so that you can best identify what you need to do next. And the answer to that is you need to use data to find what matters most. There's seeing who's in your community and also zoning on them as a person. What are they caring about? What are they looking for in a church? So data is going to be extremely important to finding out what matters so you can draw them into your church. And a good place to start, because again, that's overwhelming. You probably live in a community with thousands of people. You're really looking for people who share the same values, beliefs, and passions as your church or parish. So how do you do that? Let's get to the tips part, right? So there are some wonderful tools out there for understanding your community. And really, you want to start with looking at demographic information and potentially socioeconomic information. So a couple of places you can start is the US Census data. If you go onto the site, you can drill down into your community and see some basic statistics about your community for free. Another great option is to go to local events or join online groups to get a sense of who's out in your community. And then also ACS Technologies offers Mission Insight, which goes a little bit deeper, a lot deeper, depending on how much you want to use it, into your community. It is an analytics tool that includes the demographic, socioeconomic, and religious preference data that is proprietary to us. And it really shapes a view for who's in your community and what they care about. So for example, if you have a population of single mothers, maybe the right ministry to bring them in is going to be related to their children, such as Vacation Bible School. Whichever avenue you go down, just make sure you're looking for both qualitative and quantitative data to paint the picture of your community. And that'll be your starting point for moving into phase 2.
Oh, there we go. So it is time for our first giveaway. Like we said, we have a couple of giveaways we're going to do throughout here. The first one is going to be a set of earbuds. This will be either Apple or Android. We'll contact you afterwards to confirm which one you prefer and your address. Make sure we can ship that out to you. But our first winner today is Mary Biebler. So Mary, you will get contact after this to make sure we know which one you prefer, and we'll confirm your address. All right, so let's go ahead and move into the second part of this, this overall growth strategy, and that is reach. You've done the research, you've got a better idea of who your community is, but now what? How do you take that data and turn it into people actually walking through the doors of your church? The best part is to reach them, and you can do that through events. So let's say you use MI and your community has a growing population of young families with small children. You really need to tailor an event that would draw them in and get them to communicate and have interaction with your church and with your members. So for example, my local church, my home church, we just had our spring fling a few weekends ago. It's gorgeous weather here in South Carolina, so it was a great time to have that. And we have a growing population of Hispanic families in the neighborhood surrounding our church. And so we've been doing an international ministry, and we wanted that spring fling to really reach those new families that are coming in. A lot of them have smaller children. And so we tailored that event specifically for that audience. While all the members and others in the neighborhood were invited, we did desserts that were very native for Mexico and where we knew that they were coming from. And we had our Spanish-speaking Guatemalan worship leader, William. We had him lead a lot of the announcements to make sure that if they were not English-speaking or as fluent in English, they were still included and could know what was going on with all of the games and the giveaways and things that we had happening. So we really tailored that event to reach our specific audience and what we knew their interests would be. The next thing is to focus on how to tailor your event communications based on preferences. So while you're learning about your demographics, learn about their age, their backgrounds, things that they may prefer, and use that to kind of tailor that communication strategy to really reach them in the way that they receive their information. And we'll go into a little bit of a deeper dive into that in a few minutes. And then the last thing, you want to make sure you're keeping track of your efforts. You have to know what's working and what's not working to really know how to continue to reach people. You don't want to do a one and done. You want to continue reaching them and reaching new people, and kind of changing that based on your neighborhood as it grows as well. So make sure that you're setting time aside to analyze data after your event, to make sure that you know what is working. So like I said, we're going to kind of dive into this. As Whitney said, I worked as a communications director at a local church. So this is kind of what I prefer to talk about. So I'm very comfortable with this. But some tools that you can use to really tailor those event communications. We're going to start with some free options that you have. And some that you're probably already using. The first being social media. As we all know, most of us have social media. If we don't have it, we are definitely in the minority there. But you want to make sure that you're focusing on the demographics that you discovered in your data research to really determine the best social media channel. So you can Google social media demographics, and there are all kinds of reports out there that'll tell you what the demographics for each social media channel are, and that'll help you to figure out which one you want to use based on what your event will be and the audience that you're trying to reach. So for example, almost a quarter of Facebook users are my age. We're millennials. We're between 25 and 34. So if we're your target audience, Facebook would definitely be the way to go. You could use Facebook events. You could boost that Facebook event for a pretty small budget and reach a broad audience. And you can even set kind of a targeted location to make sure you're hitting those that are actually around your church in that Facebook event. But then if you are trying to reach maybe young adults, maybe they're in that 18 to 24-year-old range, Instagram, that's their go-to for social media. So maybe you want to tailor your communications to be on Instagram, and you can also boost on Instagram as well. So you would want to make sure you're looking at the demographics to choose your social media network. Next, I have community forums. So this is a big one here in Florence. We have a lot of different community forums. We have radio stations that are local. We have a lot of social media pages that are run by local community members and things like the Chamber of Commerce that will let you advertise your events for free if they're community-wide. So make sure you're looking into what your options are in your community to use those free options and kind of get an extra voice out there about your event. And next is word of mouth. You all know in the church world that word of mouth is kind of the best way to do anything. And it's definitely a way to get out in the community. For you to know your community and really know who they are and what they care about, you do need to get out in the community. So make this a challenge. You can challenge your members. You can always make it a small group challenge. If you have small groups at your church, challenge each small group to go to a different restaurant or coffee shop or park and provide them with little handouts or postcards or something that tells your event details. And then they can go out into the community and share that and meet people one-on-one and be able to personally give them that invite. Next, these last three are things that you're probably already using for your church communications, but you can use them broader to talk about your event. So your website, one of the things that we talked about often whenever I worked at the church was really tailoring our website for non-members. So we had our mobile app, and it was the Realm Connect app, and that was more for our member communications. But we wanted to tailor our website for people who may not be familiar with our church. And part of that is putting out those events that are community-wide. So if they're not a member, they may not really care about your small group events or meetings, but they will care about events that they're able to attend with their children or just themselves if it's something that applies. So make sure that you are using your website to really push those events that are open to the community. Next are emails and text. So this is definitely a targeted strategy, and we always want to be able to target things. So you can use the emails or the phone numbers that you get for your event registration and be able to send out event reminders and even post-event communications. And part of that is that event registration. Most church management solutions do offer event registration options that you can embed on your website. So when they go to your website and they see that exciting event, or maybe they go to your social media and you've shared it there, that link can take them to that event registration where they can say, yep, my husband and I, our daughter, we're going to come to your event. Here's our names. Here's an email address and a phone number. And that enters them into your church database where you can then follow up with them through text or through email, whichever one they prefer. And it really allows them to have further communication with your church outside of just that one event. Another idea, if you are not wanting to do event registration, or maybe you are and you just want a second option to really collect more information from those who attend your event, you can always do a giveaway at the event. So you can say, hey, go to this table at this game, sign up for our church newsletter, or, do this and we will enter you into the drawing and we'll do a giveaway. And that will just have another way that one, they know what they're signing up for, but two, you're able to collect that information and connect back with them. And the last thing here is mobile apps. So here you see an example of how you can show your event in a church's mobile app. This is Pocket Platform. It's our custom mobile app that is available with our church management software ministry platform. But it really allows you to also share this event with your church members. Obviously, the main audience would be to pull in new people to reach, but to have those people really engage and see who your church is and what you're all about, you want to make sure your members are in attendance and that they are excited and welcoming and they have everything they need to make sure that they're going to enjoy it as well. So make sure you include them. Make sure you put that on your mobile app. Analytics. So we talked about how do you know that your event is successful? How do you know that you are reaching new people to be able to continue that strategy or shape that a little bit differently for the next event? You need to measure your success. So three different things that you want to evaluate post-event to see how successful you are. The first is new profiles. If you can go in your church management system and see a dashboard or an event or a report that shows you, how many were in attendance, how many registered, how many new profiles were added to your database based on a registration, that will allow you to see, okay, we had 30 new people added to our database. So you've reached 30 new people through this event registration that you weren't able to reach previously. So you can set your goals ahead of time and then see where you're at with those analytics to know if that's hitting the mark or if you need to change things for the next event. Now, the next two are really focused on post-event in the weeks following the event, not exactly on that day or the day or two after the event. And those are increased attendance and increased giving. So how many people maybe never gave to your church, but now they're giving? How many people never attended, but now they're attending? Do you have a boost in attendance a few weeks after your event? That may mean that people that came to your event are actually starting to attend your worship services. And the same with giving, maybe look another month or two out and say, okay, are we having a bump in giving? So now they've spent a month attending the church and now they're starting to give to the church. So you can kind of see those bumps and those trends in your attendance and giving and use that to say, hey, this worked. We're definitely seeing an increase. Or we're really not, we're staying stagnant. Maybe we need to do more demographic research, or we need to tailor our communications a little bit better to be able to bring them into that event and really reach them. All righty, so it is time for another giveaway. I am going to switch over here and let's see. Our next giveaway winner is, drum roll please, Jane Sabins. Jane, you will be getting a call after this, and we will be able to see if you would like another pair of earbuds. We will let you know that you can choose from Apple or Android, so we'll contact you after this, and you can tell us which you prefer, and we can confirm your address, make sure that we can ship those out to you.
Congratulations, Jane. Okay, we've made it. We're on to part 3 of our 3-pronged effort. So this is going to be about engaging your congregation, but I want to make sure we're talking about that in a broad sense. Your congregation is certainly the members you already have, but there is a group that's going to be so critical from the events that you're bringing in, which is visitors. It is so incredibly important that you have an opportunity to build a connection with your visitors. It's making them feel seen, making them feel comfortable. That is going to be integral to them deciding to come back to your church or parish, or, even walking through the doors if you met them through an event. So you really need to focus, have, dedicated people focused on visitors. I'm sure that's not new news, but I cannot express enough how important that's going to be. You need to create a connection. So this doesn't have to be just your pastors and your care team. This is something that you can, as Leanne touched on before, really bring your congregation existing members into. A good way to do that is to offer groups and volunteer opportunities that are going to be compelling to visitors. That's also a great way to come into the doors of your church, right? Is through a cause that they feel passionate about. But by bringing them into groups and volunteer opportunities, they're building a connection with your church through your existing members, your existing parishioners, and taking some of that burden off of your parish or church staff, pastors, and volunteers. And the last part is going to be really prescriptive here, and it's done that way on purpose. But if you think about everybody who's walking into your church or parish, whether that be visitors or whether they be members for 20 years, everybody is in a specific place in their own personal spiritual journey. And to build a lasting connection, to truly continue engagement, you're going to need to understand where they are and where they're trying to go. So let's talk about that a little bit more with some specific tips and tricks that you can use. So the way that you can think about this is you have all these different people, right? What you're going to do is try to segment that audience. In the marketing world, that's incredibly important. It's also true for building out the spiritual journey for one of your visitors or members. So look at your audience. Maybe it is people you've identified would potentially be good leaders in your church or parish. Maybe it's visitors who you'd like their next step to be joining a small group. Whatever that looks like, spend some time looking at everyone that you know, and also spend some time thinking about a visitor walking through the doors and what their next steps would be. Everybody's going to have a different track, but through segmentation, you can make this a lot easier to maintain by putting them into specific groups with specific steps. Another really important part here is not just knowing where they are and where they're going. You need to assign ownership here. So that may be, again, pastor, a care team, maybe it's a buddy, a member, just making sure that for every step of the journey for each of your segments, you do have a defined owner there so that they're continuing to create engagement with your church and making sure, again, they feel seen and taken care of. A couple of ways you can do this. There's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned spreadsheet, right? Create a tab for each of your segments, outline the steps you want them to go to. So maybe that's going to be for your visitors. Again, I want you to come to an event. I want you to then go do a small group, then do a volunteer opportunity. Outline those steps on that tab, and then also assign the owners for that. As Leanne said, tracking progress, it's going to work here too. You want to make sure you're viewing how people are progressing through those steps. Another option is that most church management softwares include workflows, processes, pathways, whatever you're using. There should be something in most cases where you can create steps, assign owners, and then track progress along the way. That may be by, checking off that I completed this phone call, for example, but that's another great way. ACS Technologies also offers Growth Method, which is an engagement hub. So it does two things. It's about taking in visitor information. So there's forms, there's keywords, but it's pulling in that visitor information to seamlessly pull that into your database. But the bulk of what Growth Method does is it allows you to build out those tracks. And where it takes a step further than what you may be using today is there's automation. So if I am the pastor, for example, I'd get a dedicated phone number, and then I would have a track of automated communications to send out to visitors. So I, as a visitor, would get a text from Pastor Bob that says, "Thank you for joining today. We'd love to see you at X event." And all of that's automated and built in advance. So there's a lot of options there from very basic to very advanced. Again, it doesn't matter what tool you use. You just need to make sure that you're identifying your segments, step one. Step two, assigning those owners, and then measuring that progress so that everyone continues to progress and their relationship with not only your church, but God, right? The main thing that we want to accomplish here. So we're going to close out shortly. But the last thing I wanted to mention is we are here to help. You know, you may already be a ministry partner of ours. If you're not, we'd love to talk to you about your challenges. We have a slew of products, resources, services. But what we've talked about here today for our three-pronged approach is really the community analytics through Mission Insight. Ministry platform and realm are our church management solutions that also include event management, communication tools, and lastly, growth method. If you want to learn more about these, please give us a call at the number at the bottom. And we'd love to chat with you and come up with a personalized plan, send you additional resources, anything that we can do to help, we'd love to do, regardless of your denomination, regardless of your church size. I'm sure there's something out there that we can do to help you. And we'd love the chance to do that to help you further your ministry.
All right, so it is time for our big giveaway today. This will be an iPad. And so we are excited to announce the winner is Sister Catherine Kurdziel from the Diamond. So Sister Catherine, we will reach out to you after this and make sure we have your information to send you the iPad.
Congratulations. Okay, Jenna has been furiously working on our Q&A, and we do have a couple of questions that we'll hit on. I think you guys have been a pretty wrapped audience, not a ton of Q&A. I hope that's a good sign that you found this information helpful. But I do want to cover some of the questions. The first one was a website strategy, kind of touching on what Leanne covered of how you should sort of look at your website and your apps. I would say for your website, it needs to serve both. So you need to have, you know, that page of about us and why you should join our church. And then you also need to have, you know, what's important to your congregation or your parishioners. So that is certainly it's a both. I would just say in your website, just making sure if you were to go and look at your website today, is that appealing to someone who knows nothing about your church? Is the language easy to understand? Is the navigation easy for someone to come in and easily find the information that they would need? The other one is there a study done regularly on what communication types are preferred? Mission Insight, which we talked about briefly, does include several reports that are updated with communication preferences. And that's going to be something that'll show you things like how they'd like to be reached, what platforms they use for that. It also includes things like their interest. It's really a very comprehensive platform to get up-to-date information. We all know things change very rapidly. And so that's a great tool to be able to kind of stay on the pulse of your community, whether that be looking at the population forecast, looking at an age breakdown, and then also how would you like to be communicated to, or even what you'd like to, you know, be served at a small group. It really is comprehensive. So that'll be a good one. And as Leanne mentioned, there's also surveys done pretty frequently. You can search for to get some baseline information about what different generations, maybe different demographics would prefer in their communications. Okay, and I think that's the bulk of the questions that we had for today. We do still have a few minutes. We want to be respectful of everyone's time. I'm sure many of you on here wear multiple hats, maybe double booked. But we'll just give it one more minute to put in any other questions before we close out and give you a little bit of time back.
So I did see another question come in, and it says, can you talk about ministry platform and how it is different than Realm? We currently use Realm. So Ministry Platform and Realm are both of our CHMS offerings here at ACST. If you are currently using Realm, then you're very familiar with that. But Ministry Platform takes that a step further and really builds on Realm to offer a lot more of customization and integration. So it is an open API integrated solution. You can pretty much build Ministry Platform to be whatever you would like it to be. So you can pick and choose what you think is important for your church and for what you're needing, your unique needs, and you can build on top of that and use API integration, coding, things of that nature to kind of tailor that solution to really fit your ministry and your needs, whether that's whether you're a church, whether you're a diocese and you have parishes that you want to push on that as well. It allows you to really have a holistic view of your ministry as a whole. And of course, just like Realm has Realm Connect as a mobile app, Ministry Platform has Pocket Platform as a custom mobile app solution. So a little bit more customization options there with Pocket Platform.
Okay, and I did have a question about growth method. Is that different from your church management solutions? It is. Growth method integrates with our ACST church management systems, but also several others as well. So how that works is it is its own solution, but it also has the integration so that you can take in information through growth method and then put that back into your system of record, whatever that church management software would be. Okay.
I see another question. Is ACS Financial integrated into these solutions? So yes, Realm does offer integrated accounting with Realm Accounting and Payroll. That also offers accrual accounting. That was a new release last year. Ministry Platform, you can choose to integrate with ACS Financial Suite or Realm Accounting. They have those integrations where they can help you set those up. So they do have financial integrations for both of those products.
I had another question about growth method. Really exciting. Does the automated text message look personal? Does it look auto-generated? No, it's going to look as if it's coming from your phone. You set up what those communications are, so it's not auto-generating the language. It's just auto-sending it, so to speak. So it will definitely maintain the tone of whoever it's being sent from and give it a personalized feel for sure. And that's something we've hit on quite a bit today is the personalization. Cannot, emphasize that enough. But think about that in everything you do. It's like, who are you trying to do this for? Is it for visitors? Is it for members? Is it for a specific group of your community you're trying to bring in? Just put that hat on because the one-to-many approach is not going to make anyone really feel, special. And you really want to make them feel seen, right? Draw them in. Okay, we have, it looks like one more question about growth method. It does have an app, and that app is going to be showing you everything that you have assigned to you. So if I'm a pastor or care team member, I'll see everyone's assigned to me in the track they're in. So maybe I'm assigned new visitors, maybe I'm assigned visiting the elderly who were unwell. Whatever those are that's assigned to me, I'm going to see everything about them. Which will be the track they're in, the step they're on, their contact information. All those things are available right at your fingertips.
Thank you, Kent, for sharing over that URL. We'll definitely take a look and make sure that that link is fixed if it is broken. William, we see your question about email and text contest for Mission Insight. It may be best, since that's a little bit deeper into the weeds, to call our solution consultants. There are a large number of reports that are available with Mission Insight, and so they may know of one that would fit your specific needs and give you exactly what you're looking for. So it may be better to call them and they can get everything that you would look for out of that data and see how they would be able to best tailor the report for that.
Okay, it looks like we've covered all of the questions today. Just to close us out, reminder, you will receive a recording that'll go out and show up in your inbox on Monday. Feel free to forward that, re-watch it. Also, Leanne, if you can go back to the slide with our phone number on it, if you have some unanswered questions, go ahead and just give us a call. And you can see here, we are available to answer any of your questions. It's 1-800-736-7425. And we look forward to hearing from you. We hope you found this, useful. I know your time is very valuable. You guys are in charge of ministry. It could not be a bigger job, right? So we really appreciate you taking the time out to join us. And we hope we'd answered some of the questions and made finding, reaching, and engaging something that you feel like you can do, even starting with a baby step even later today. Thank you so much.